Come on, join us. It is the Empower Talk. Empower Show. The Empower Talk. The Empower Show.
Welcome again to the Empower Talk podcast. My name is PJ Edmund, always honored and humbled to be able to share what I think are insightful, thoughtful ideas about how we as leaders, as business entrepreneurs, have to handle ourselves as we're trying to achieve all the wonderful visions and plans that we have. I want to talk a little bit today about frustration is not wasted friction. Frustration is not wasted friction. All of us experience this when we're trying to accomplish things, and yet we have to run into these emotional barriers, these signs, whether it's physical, whether it's emotional, whether it's psychological. We all have to navigate how we function and how we react to certain stimuli in certain environments. And while we cannot always get rid of how we feel, what we can certainly do is learn how to manage those moments better so that we can accomplish whatever our stated goal is. And so one of those things, those annoyances, frustrations are always there. I mean, it seems like you just hit a wall, and for no apparent reason. One day of business is looking great, second day of business is looking wonderful. Then on the third day, it just seems like there's an escape button. All the ideas and the creativity and the things that we like to do just seem to disappear, and we seem to lose them. We all operate by those signs, and we feel them and we know them. We try to navigate them. We try to overcome them. But they should not be things that stop us from really achieving all of the things that we need to achieve. Those signs happen physiologically, they happen biologically. They even happen in our minds in a way that tell us that something is happening in our environment. Now, how we interpret these signs, how we interpret the annoyances or the frustrations, that's the key to how we navigate, how we work with them so that we can still achieve what we're trying to achieve. We can't stop them, right? We can't prevent them. No matter how much we talk to ourselves and encourage ourselves and motivate ourselves, and we can read 1,000 affirmations a day, and you'll still run into these situations that just actually surprise us, because these are signs in our body that they're premonitions and they're observances and observations that really kind of take us off guard because they're unexplained, they're unplanned, they're certainly unwarranted, and they're absolutely unscheduled. And yet, if we're going to achieve anything, we're going to have to learn how to deal with ourselves and how we feel from one day to the next. Just because we are up one day does not mean that we're going to be that way tomorrow. And it can be for no apparent reason. This is really the thing that kind of blows our minds. How did I move from this level of certainty and this level of power and this level of being comfortable with what I'm doing, what my purpose is, and what my plans are, and all of a sudden now I have to fight these annoyances and these frustrations that come into our lives. Everything then is environmental. Everything that we touch, the people that we handle, the people that we collaborate with, the people that we liaise with, the people that we plan with, oftentimes even their energy, their environmental stability can have an impact on what we're trying to do. And so this is why it's so key that when we're moving forward to try and understand how to deal with the frustrations and the friction that comes from the frustration, it's going to happen. So why then do we not just find a way to handle this? A seasoned sailor, an expert sailor, understands this concept, and I just share this with you, that whenever they run into a storm, they can't always predict where the storms are going to come from or how they're going to handle any uprising in the change of weather. But a seasoned sailor will know how to just adjust their sails and move through uncharted waters, or move through things that do not seem that they're positive, but we learn how to adapt. So we have to be adjustable. We have to be flexible. You've got to remind yourself that you have all the skills to be fluid, that you have all the abilities to do whatever it is that you have to do. And these skills sometimes do not emerge, they do not manifest until you hit certain things in your life. So frustrations are always going to be there. They're part of our everyday lives. They are physical and emotional responses to different stimuli, to different things happening in our environment. And even though they are annoying, at times, but we have to understand that part of what we have to manage is not just ourselves personally, But we have to also manage our environment and the things that are happening around us and the things that are not controllable, the things that are uncontrollable, the things that we desire to have a handle on that sometimes we just can't get a grasp on. It's in these areas that all of us have to find a way to emerge through these challenges and understand. Then let's take the concept of the sailor. How do we then adjust our sails? How do we use even the adversities and the setbacks and the annoyances and the frustrations to work for our advantage, to help us to make the kind of progress we need to make without it being a setback or a deterrent? So we can't manage fear. Fear is going to happen quite naturally because fear is detected by different senses in our lives. We cannot always manage the hesitation, the uncertainty, because in every situation, as a leader, as a business person, as an entrepreneur, we are always growing and we're always evolving. One of the things that I think is so exciting that even when we run into these issues that seem to challenge us, it teaches us something amazing about ourselves. And sometimes if we just slow ourselves down and try not to panic too much and actually study these issues that are coming into our lives and coming into our thoughts, let's not even get into thought control. The types of ideas and the types of uncertainties that just creep into our thinking whenever we're trying to do something positive is just amazing. It's always going to be out there. But you also have to know that we are evolving, we are growing, and that in every situation, every decision we make in life, in business, in all of our plans, that these things are uncontrollable, yet we can utilize them. We can use them as stepping stones. We can use them to advance our cause, even though it does not feel like it's working. Have you ever felt that? It's just not working. And typically and literally what's happening, even when it feels like it's not working, something is still working for you and with you. And so we've got to navigate. We've got to understand those impulses that come to detract us and to misdirect us and to detour us. It's happening all in the same moment. No matter how well prepared we are, how well planned we are, no matter how many times we've rehearsed this wonderful pitch, this wonderful business plan, you can guarantee that there's going to be an unknown uncertainty that's going to enter into our environment, that's going to alter the way that we feel. Yet we have to just breathe and accept that these things are happening. But we have to be so focused on who we know we are and what we are presenting and what our knowledge base is and what our experience is, that these things then begin to teach us something wonderful about ourselves, even as we're trying to navigate those things. So as we decide what we want and what we're going to share, we have to learn and continue to learn about how do we move forward in spite of what we feel, in spite of what we're going through, in spite of what we are frustrated by. Frustration then is a barrier. Whenever we hit a barrier, it is not a negative. We've hit a season, a level, we've hit a wall, or we've hit something that really literally tells us that you have maximized and you have learned and you've grown so much that now you're actually entering into a different level, different season. But frustration, even though it's a negative, it really should be seen as a positive. It means you're growing. It means that there are some things now, your gift, your belief, your vision, all the things that you desire to be are suddenly confronted with a limitation. And sometimes when we're hit by limitations, we react indifferently. But frustration is not a sign of negativity. The friction that we feel is not a sign that we're going backwards. It's a sign that we're actually accelerating. It's a sign that we're actually moving in a positive direction. But now we have to figure out, we have to be collaborative, we have to pull out all of our intellectual prowess, and we now have to make a decision about how do we solve this next movement, how do we get to this next level by dealing with what frustration brings to us and what we need to do. Frustration is simply a sign that you know there's more going on inside of you, and you see it and you know it, you speak it, you see your plans, and the frustration comes many times because what we see instinctively in our minds is not what we see in front of us. But we've got to make sure that we remind ourselves that we are prepared, you are prepared, and you are enough. you're able to do all the things that you're planning to do. You're able to overcome all the things that you're facing. But then we have to also interpret when we feel those tensions, those annoyances, and those frustrations, that we don't fall apart, that we use this as an amazing opportunity to see how we can release different creativity and innovations to rise above what we're feeling. Because remember, frustration is not a limit, it's a sign that you're actually moving in the right direction. So we have to get around. How do we solve that? We've discussed this before. You've just got to get around people that have the same wavelength. Not everybody in your circle is very helpful when we're frustrated, because all important, really professional individuals have to deal with these kinds of moments. But we've got to make sure that we surround ourselves with the kind of energy that settles us, even in the uncertainties, that they're not going to be eliminated. We can't erase them, but we can be in the right area or breathe the right air that just settles us. Sometimes you just got to stop and breathe and just let the emotional, the physical reaction, and let the environmental reaction work its way through. And then we can collect ourselves and still be exactly the powerful and the intelligent and the motivated and the charismatic person that you are. So frustration is not a sign that we're not moving. It is a sign that we are moving. And the reason why we've hit this level is because now we're trying to grow and become a different people. So now we have to learn how to grow and have to learn how to navigate. And so now we have to improve on our navigation skills. When we feel lost or uncertain and we're not sure how things are going to work out, we've got to settle ourselves, return to the plan, and keep it simple. Where's my why? And where's my energy? And what are the things that will help me to be promoted? What are the things that help me to be really positive in this moment, and not buy into the frustration that seems to be the negative, but the frustration that needs to be solved? Because in order for us to move to the next level, we're going to have to solve whatever that is that's in front of us. So be challenged, be encouraged, be strengthened. Frustration is not wasted friction. That the things that you're going through and the energy that you're feeling and the disappointments that seem to hit us is not wasted. If we learn how to analyze and assess how we're feeling and make sure that we grow and we evolve, and the next time we're in that situation where we have to move and we feel the stimuli of uncertainty, we know how to do it next time. We know how to behave. We know how to change, or we know how to adjust our sails so we can still achieve. And so I hope that's helpful. This EMPOWERTalk podcast is just to say to you that your frustration is not wasted friction. Use the energy. Use what we learn in that moment and still do it. You've got to feel the fear, feel the frustration, feel the friction, and still do it anyway, because how we feel about a thing has nothing to do with that thing, that gift, and that talent being real. So stay encouraged. This EMPOWERTalk is just to say to you that your frustration is not wasted friction. Join me again on another episode next week of EMPOWERTalk podcast with PJ Edmund. I love talking to you guys. Come back next week.